My name is Gabriel Aguirre. I'm the Family Development and Stabilization Coordinator for Imperial Valley ROP. And thank you for joining us for today's Engineering, Energy, Transportation, Manufacturing, and Construction Regional Advisory breakout session. I'd like to start by thanking our educational community, our CTE teachers, and our IVRP staff members, Martina Castro, Sue Caldwell, who are going to be assisting me today, as well as our CTE coordinator, Juan Campos, is with us, and one of his program managers, Adriana Hernandez. Thank you, guys. The goal of today's regional advisory meeting is to maintain extensive business and industry involvement and to develop recommendations to CTE programs and forge connections between school districts, industry, and potential employers to provide dedicated support to both CTE teachers and students. Before we begin today, there's some household items I'd like to go over. If you didn't register for this event beforehand, please feel free to do so afterwards. There should be a link in the chat provided in a little bit. And that is so that we can have your contact information and keep you updated with future industry breakout sessions and other activities. Again, please introduce yourself in the chat. Please include your organization and or school district. And if your title is applicable, also include that so that way we know who you are and where you're coming from. Today we have a full agenda. We have a slate of great speakers, but we'll do our best to stay on schedule, to respect your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And we'll ask them at the end of our meeting with a Q&A after session. And we're also going to ask that you complete an evaluation for this industry session. So please take any mental notes, comments, and any feedback you want to provide to us. And we'll be adding that to the link in a little bit. And also, if you haven't, please complete our industry survey to help us gather data that helps give CTE programs input on how to better prepare their students for the world of work. Okay. And with that, like I said, we have a great slate of speakers today, and I'll get ready to turn it over to our first speakers. Our first couple of speakers are from the Community Colleges of California. Ruishan Chow is the Regional Director of Employer Engagement and Advanced Manufacturing for San Diego and Imperial counties. And Monica Rosas is the coordinator for K-14 Career Education Professional Development for both San Diego and Imperial County Community Colleges as well. And I'll turn it over to you, ladies.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I'm going to start sharing my screen so I can start presenting. So very delighted to be here with all of you today. And thank you so much for inviting us. So I'm going to begin so that there's not much delay. My name is Ruishan Chow. I'm the Regional Director for Employer Engagement. I focus primarily on advanced manufacturing. I used to have a background in manufacturing engineering, and hence I'm here. So my role is really to be the industry liaison between the manufacturers and educators with the goal of making sure that we are fulfilling our manufacturing workforce pipeline so that we can keep our economy going, right? We are the top 5 economy in the whole world, and we want to continue to stay there or get better. So today I'll talk very briefly about the trend of where manufacturing and engineering is going. This is my favorite pictorial diagram that actually illustrates how the industry has moved. Today, we're actually very fortunate to have Pat with us today. He's going to talk about the certifications and the different equipment for these type of technologies. So as you can see, this is where we should be, Industry 4.0. And the pandemic probably have already accelerated a lot of projects so that more work can be automated. So right now, I would say education is around the Industry 3.0, and what we really want to do is start pushing and upskill and develop our program so that it's moving towards the Industry 4.0. Here are some latest research and news. For those who are interested and want to read about this, feel free to email me. I can send you the link, or ask me for the presentation and I can send it to you. But it's no surprise that digitization in machinery and industrial automation is coming. And like I said, the pandemic pretty much will accelerate. If we want to stay competitive as a country, as a state, as a city, or even county, we really need to start looking at how we can do more automation and digitization. So this is an example of some of the top average annual openings for both San Diego and Imperial County, right? It's for both counties. And this is thanks to the Center of Excellence that we have in our California Community College Chancellor's Office. They actually came up with this. And for those who wants report, you can contact me. But essentially, if you look at this, these are the average annual openings from 2018 to 2023. And those that are highlighted in yellow, they are occupations that, whether it's directly or indirectly, they are all related to industrial automation and maintenance in some regard. For more information, you can look at coeccc.net and search for your own specific region. This is a very it's an overview of the industrial automation maintenance trend. As you can see, for Imperial County, we're actually predicting to have more jobs coming up to 2024. And some might argue that, well, this is a pre-coronavirus report, but we did a resilient report recently, and engineering technicians, maintenance and repair workers, they are still one of the highest in demand, because we know we can create all these machineries to do cool stuff, but someone has to be able to troubleshoot them. Someone has to be able to fix them if it breaks down, right? And here is an example of the percentage for net job change. And for those who are curious how much they will get paid, here is some data. And these are the different occupations, as I mentioned before, that's related to industrial automation and maintenance. As you can see, the median hourly earnings are actually above minimum wage. So, and there's a lot of potential for growth. And some of the top employers are over here. And actually, we have one of them with us today, Imperial Irrigation District, right? They are one of the top employers in this arena. So before I end my slide, here are some resources that you can look at, 3 bullet points, cat.org. There's myworkforceconnection.org for those who are educators or deans or in the education arena. And then we have the careerat.org. That's where students and employers can actually go to find out what kind of programs we have in our counties, both San Diego and Imperial. And if you double click on this booklet, email me or just contact me or contact Gabrielle, and I can send you this information. But yeah, pretty much that's all I have. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Monica Rosas, to talk about work-based learning opportunities.
Thank you. And I'll also be brief. And I do want to apologize. I've recently today been a victim of double booking. So I have another meeting and I'm going to have to log off. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to every speaker. We know Pat and we know Ismael. But Ruishan, if you guys are going to have Q&A at the end, Ruishan can easily answer anything that you guys have for me. Sorry, Ruishan, to put you on the spot. So can you guys see my screen? Yeah, okay. So I'll start. Ruishan and I divided up this presentation. She and I work very closely together. And like my title says, I'm the coordinator for work-based learning and professional development for K-14 educators across the region. And when we say region, we refer to San Diego and Imperial counties. We have 10 community colleges total across the region. And then of course in Imperial, we have Imperial Valley College. I just wanted to touch a little bit, and I know all of you guys are educators. You all are familiar with the term work-based learning. So work-based learning allows students to apply what they're learning in the classroom in professional settings while gaining a real-world experience. And there's a progress. It starts with awareness and then goes all the way to training. As you guys all know, and we've all been through this, I'm pretty sure, at least I have, us as students, we go back and forth. So we cycle back through the continuum of the work-based learning because we're always learning. So that's awareness creating. So this is just the description that we have on work-based learning. And then we also wanted to say educators play a critical role in ensuring that these experiences are included into the classroom. I'm seeing some things in the chat. Feel free to, Martina, feel free to interrupt me if there are questions for me. This is kind of the continuum. So like I said, it starts with career awareness and then moves into career exploration and then career preparation. So I do have some pictures here of the different activities. And these are all pictures of events that I've put together in my work. So for example, career awareness. Some examples are career fairs, which I am not a total fan of. And the only reason is I'm a little bit of an introvert sometimes. I've learned along the way throughout my career how to be better at cold calling, how to be better at networking. So I feel career fairs are really good for someone who's an extrovert and who's very into, who doesn't fear anything pretty much. So I feel like people who are introverts or students maybe will not do as great in career fairs. That's why in the awareness piece, I prefer classroom guest speakers and career assessments. And there's a bunch of resources, and a lot of your counselors know about these, like California Career Zone, and other resources from the California Department of Education to do career assessments in the classroom. So that's the first piece of the continuum. And then there's career exploration. And this, I'm going to say, is my favorite one within work-based learning. I love learning, and going to company tours is one of my favorite things. So on the second page, these were actually interns of mine who were studying international business. And I took them to an import-export of a company that imports fruits, mainly tomatoes and strawberries. They're on the San Diego side in Otay Mesa, and they sell to the big companies like Walmart and Sweet Tomatoes or Soup Plantation, if you guys are familiar with those restaurants. And then informational interviews are also part of the career exploration. So learning firsthand from a professional, kind of like picturing themselves in their shoes and asking questions about their career journeys. That's within the career exploration side. Career preparation is a little bit more in depth into the profession. So for example, when a student really wants to learn more about a certain career, they could do job shadows, internships, or involving them in like different projects. So for example, the third picture, her name is Lexi. And when I was working for an organization called Center for International Trade Development, she used to job shadow me, and she was interning with us. And I gave her like real world industry or business projects where you'll see that a lot of small businesses in different sectors and industries, they don't have a lot of employees, and most of their employees wear different hats. So working on market research is a great example to include students in, and most companies are open to it. So Lexi, in this case, was helping me do a lot of market research for smaller companies that wanted to start exporting to different countries. So that's an example of like involving them in projects, and that's part of the career preparation in the work-based learning continuum. These are just some examples. I have plenty more, and I'm always open to talking to anyone about them. The next thing I wanted to point out in my little presentation is, and this is totally stolen from work that the San Diego County Office of Education did with the San Diego Workforce Partnership, and they surveyed a number of companies to ask them what are those essential skills and soft skills needed by these particular companies. And this is something that is also tied into what Ruishan and I have heard when we go out to talk to manufacturing companies. They usually say that the technical skills can be taught on the job, and that they rather them have all these transferable soft/essential skills, because if they have these, they can be easily trained. So I just wanted to share this, and I'll send my PowerPoint to Martina for her to share as well. I'll just go really brief on the manufacturing resources. So ever since Ruishan and I, well, ever since we all started working from home, we had to switch all of our face-to-face in-person events, and we converted everything to virtual. I mean, as much as we could, because we can't do like an actual tour with schools and different manufacturing plants, but we wanted to bring them to the screen. So we started having different discussion forums for educators, and we have those once a month. It's the third Wednesday of the month, and we'll also send out the invitation for the next one, which is next Wednesday from 2 to 3. And we have a great speaker to talk about pandemic resilient competencies, and we record everything. So where I wanted to go with this slide is, if you go, and Ruishan mentioned it, if you go into my Workforce Connection website, you'll find all of our recordings of all of our events under educator resources. And then you go into the K-14 professional development, and we have a calendar of events. And then we have all the recording of past events. So everything that you see that says advanced manufacturing is work that Ruishan and I have done. These discussion forums, we invite 2 guest speakers. And then for the manufacturing month, which is October, we had every week, we had 2 guest speakers or 2 employers to talk about what the company does and the person's career journey. So these are all hosted in this website. I'll go back really fast for the purpose of time. And these are the ones that I'm mentioning. So for week 1 of the student virtual activities or student work-based learning event that we had 2 companies. Microtech is more on the bio life sciences. And then Tandem is a metal company. And then we had 2 other companies. One is biomanufacturing, the other is packaging. And then we had medical device with Johnson Matthey. Otter Products, they're the company. They make phone cases. So their research and development is done here in San Diego. And then we really wanted to have someone from Imperial, and it was Ismael from the Imperial Irrigation District. And we had General Atomics present as well. Other resources that we offer, again, they're all housed in that My Workforce Connection website. We have the educator guide that has information about all of the priority sectors that we promote, in this case, specifically advanced manufacturing. And then you guys, you have Imperial Valley College, and they're always open to outside the box ideas on how to putting on events, etc. And I know this firsthand because we helped them organize 2 events 2 years in a row for all of the middle schools in Imperial, where we brought them into the college, and the students were able to go into different workshops like we see here in the first picture. So they got to weld, and then they took a little plate as a souvenir with their name. So these are really good work-based learning activities for the students. And these are just some ideas. So Jose Velasquez is the department chair, and feel free to reach out to him. I know right now we can't go and visit the campus, but there's definitely things you could do with the college moving forward.
Thank you, Monica. You have so much information, and we want to try to make some room for the other speakers.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'll send this to Martina, and I actually have to jump into another meeting. But yes, let us know if you guys need anything.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and ladies, thank you both for you guys. You have a wealth of information, and I wish that we had more time in order to do that. But I do want to give respect to the other speakers. So next up, we have Pat Uetz, who's a sales specialist from Advanced Technology Consultants. And without any more ado, I'll turn it over to you, Pat.
Thank you, Gabriel. And can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Pat Uetz. I'm with Advanced Technologies Consultants. We are manufacturer's representative, headquartered in Northville, Michigan, just outside Detroit. And we provide technical training equipment and curriculum for career and technical educational programs. We have representation in the following states here. I won't name them all, but there's about 10 of them there. And we represent a few different companies. I've listed about 6 or 7 here. There are a few more, but these are the largest ones that we do rep. Part of the discussion today is advanced manufacturing and Industry 4.0. Ruishan had touched on it. I've worked with Ruishan and Monica in the past before, and we'll continue working with them. But this is kind of the roadmap that Ruishan showed. I'm showing a different graphic. It's telling the same story. Basically, that first industrial revolution was in the late 1700s. Think of a locomotive and steam power was where we started. The second industrial revolution is when electric power became available, and the person to make that most famous was really was Henry Ford and the assembly line, where he used to make cars in 12 hours and then added the assembly line and made cars in about an hour and a half. On to the third industrial revolution. That's when robotics and PLCs were introduced, and automation for that matter. And now we're in the fourth industrial revolution, where we connect all three of the first industrial revolutions, but now we add the powerful thing called the internet. So basically, we're interconnecting all these different technologies and being able to monitor them anywhere, anytime with internet connection. I ask everyone here, when's the last time you went a day without your cell phone? When's the last time you went a day without the internet? It makes life a little different, to say the least. So that's kind of where we're going now with these smart devices, hence your cell phone. You know, now that you can get Uber Eats anytime you want, you can track that order, you know exactly when it's coming to your door, you know who's driving the car, you know what the person's name is. Everything is interconnected now. Moving forward, Industry 4.0 and educations. A lot of times education is behind, and it's no fault to education. Sometimes it deals with a bunch of things, but we know Industry 4.0 is here, and I think it's important that ROP centers, community colleges need to start teaching this technology, because it's here and it's here to stay. Some of the skills needed are electromechanical skills, troubleshooting skills, robotic programming. I know students really enjoy robotics. Virtual and augmented reality is here. Smart maintenance is also here, and that's a little bit different than regular maintenance. Now, factories that are set up with Industry 4.0, they know how long a gear or a bearing or a shaft, how many rotations that'll have, and they can change it out before it fails, because if one of these items fails in a factory, the factory shut down, they lose money. If they can replace it before they know it's going to fail, the factory is smooth sailing. So these are some of the skills that we need to be teaching students at the high school and community college level. So certifications, I represent a company called Festo Didactic, and we have partnered with NC3, which is the National Coalition of Certification Centers. They have also partnered with a few other reputable companies that you can see here. And we have created an Industry 4.0 certification program, and that's what I'd like to finish talking about today. So just a quick slide on NC3 and Festo. And here is the first slide regarding the certification. So we have 3 levels of certification with a lot of meat and potatoes, so to speak, with inside each level of certification. These certifications can be stacked horizontally and vertically. I'll show that next slide. So for a level 1 fundamental of Industry 4.0 certification, we want students to learn electric power, fluid power, which includes hydraulics, pneumatics, mechanical systems and drives, PLCs, robotics, and I4O. The next level would be advanced mechatronics, which we tap into more of those same topics, just at a higher level. And then the level 3, which is the highest level, we're getting into some of the more complex Industry 4.0 topics, such as IoT, HMI, smart maintenance, which I touched on, cybersecurity, cyber physical systems. To break this down a little more, here are the topic coverages in each one of these certifications. So like I said, these certifications can be stacked horizontally and vertically. And you can also just pick and choose what certifications you'd like to do. At the ROP and college level, I'd recommend sticking in this first and second level. But if you just want to do fluid power and electrical fundamentals, you're able to do that. You don't have to do all of these. If you want a full level 1 certification, you will need to do all of these. Same with level 2 and level 3. If you just want to focus on a few of these different squares, you can do that as well. So how do we implement this into a school? First, we would come into the school, see what equipment you currently have, what equipment you currently need. We would form a partnership between you and NC3. We would send the instructor to a train the train session where he or she would learn those skills needed that they want to teach their students. We would then provide you the equipment, which would come at an investment from the school. And then once the instructor is certified, they can then certify their students. And that comes with curriculum and tests to pass. And once again, it is industry recognized.
I got 5 minutes left.
Thank you. And then I have a map of all the NC3 schools that we've worked with, or I should say that NC3 has worked with, and this goes from automotive to 3D printing to Industry 4.0 with other certifications. And if we look closely, I see a nice space here for the Imperial Valley that hopefully we can implement here soon. But NC3 is definitely a big certification body, and they're very well received and recognized. And since I do have just a few more minutes, I have a short YouTube video. I think it's 3 minutes or maybe a little less that I'd like to finish with that kind of recaps what I just talked about. So go here.
Some questions in your job are not that easy to answer at all. While we can explain the past, well, some new technologies may raise a few questions. But Festo Didactic has the answers. Industry 4.0 describes the networking and digitalization of industrial production. Modern internet-based communication technologies are merging with classic industrial processes to form so-called cyber-physical systems. Industry 4.0 stands primarily for individuality and flexibility in production, which, for example, allows batch size 1 to be priced the same as mass-produced goods. In the digital world, highly qualified and skilled workers will be required, and new competencies as well as technical know-how will be needed. Thanks to Festo Didactic and the CP Factory, this is no longer a problem. CP Factory is a unique cyber-physical research and training platform for Industry 4.0. It models all the elements of a real production plant. The CP Factory contains the latest key technologies and applications of mechatronics and automation in a networked industrial production system. CP Factory is a modular, flexible, and changeable model factory that can be quickly converted, expanded, and specially adapted to individual training content. Festo Didactic is considered an expert in the market for Industry 4.0 qualification. As a specialist for industrial automation and market leader in technical education, we stand for practical knowledge transfer. We drive digital production continuously forward through our research activities, as well as through active participation in committees like the Platform Industry 4.0. Knowledge transfer is increasingly important in Industry 4.0 because in the future, humans as decision makers will also stand at the forefront. Get ready for the next industrial revolution with the Universal Learning Platform for Industry 4.0, the CP Factory from Festo Didactic.
All right, so that's what I had. I thought I did a pretty good job of wrapping up of what we provide. So I'll be happy to answer any questions when this is finished.
All right, thank you, Pat. Appreciate your time and appreciate your information. So next up, we have another great speaker with us from a local industry leader. Ismael Gomez is an engineer 1 with energy systems operation, and he's going to speak to us for a few minutes. Ismael?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I apologize for all the graphics and stuff. I usually present to like students and like lower grades. So I focus a lot on the graphics. But so my name is Ismael Gomez. Like I was introduced earlier. I'm Seth. My dad also works there, but middle name distinguishes us. I'm an engineer 1 in the energy department under the operations section. So, and I represent Imperial Irrigation District. So here's a little snippet of where you can find jobs if anybody's looking or any students are interested in finding any jobs. And before we would have internships here, due to the COVID-19 situation, we were not offering any internships, but here's a little snippet of that. So let's get into it. So they told me to give a little background on my education. So I did see there's a couple of central, I thought it was like a central teacher there. So I did go to Central Union High School and I graduated in 2007. I went to Imperial Valley College, so did the whole community college trend, and graduated in 2010. I got my BS in electrical engineering from University of California, San Diego in 2014. And I also attended their extension campus to get a radio frequency engineering certificate. And I got my FE or my EIT in 2017. So since I mentioned earlier, I like to focus on like the students. So that's why I have these graphics, and Ruishan or Monica probably already saw these in the last presentation. So this is kind of what I like to show the kids. It's like, all right, what does an electrical engineer do? Sometimes students or maybe some of the adults don't understand what an engineer does. I know when I was younger, like they would ask me, hey, what does an engineer do? And they would think that an engineer was the one that drives the train. And I know they call those engineers also, but we're another type of engineer. So as you can see here, there's like some phones, some conference calls, and everything is going on without electricity. You can see like little cups, phone cups, transferring with the faucets. Also here, you can see it's kind of like instead of having your iPod or your iPhone now, that he's running with this whole band of rock band, I guess. So you can see there's no electricity there either. Or here the kids having their little powwow, watching TV or drawing TV. Imagine what kids would do nowadays with the whole COVID-19 situation, no electricity, no internet. It would be a whole different situation. So here's a little video that I like to show that kind of shows what the world would be without electricity or without an electrical grid. So let me play for you. As you can see here, there's a couple of scenarios where what it would be like without having like an electrical grid, power being fed to every house, every company, every restaurant. So basically what I do at IID is I work in the energy department, and my ultimate goal is to keep the lights on, or system reliability. And the way we do that is, so it all starts at the power plant, whether it's by steam, by hydro, and that power is then stepped up. So the voltage steps up into a transmission voltage. It's moved over to a transmission substation, which then moves that power, through long distances. And then it finally reaches the distribution substation where the voltage is stepped down, and it starts going into transformers that will then feed your home. And so my job is to make sure that this process goes as scheduled. So there's no fires that are affecting it. There's no high voltages, any thermal violations that might show up. And so one of the things there's some of the things that I do as an operations engineer to keep the lights on, or for system reliability, I run next day studies, which usually, and just a hindsight, all these things I do, they're to give the operator which is the one that monitors the system or does the actual opening and closing of breakers, is give them a game plan in case anything happens, or try to give them like a hindsight of what might happen. So what will the conditions look like tomorrow? So is there going to be, you know, heavy winds? Is there going to be, you know, is it going to be really hot? So that means the load is going to be really high. Are we going to have any lines out, any transformers, any generators that might affect resources? And that's what we do. So with these next day studies, we simulate load and generation forecasts, any outages that might be happening internally and externally to our area. Like I haven't mentioned this before, but the IID is interconnected. So we're connected to every other utility. So SCE, APS, SDG&E. And so if we don't capture all these outages and simulate what might happen in the future, we might end up affecting their system also. And so another thing we do is to help out is we do long-term studies. These long-term studies are similar to next day studies, but they cover, you know, 6 months out. What are some outages that might be happening in 6 months? Will there be any curtailments? Any type of situation that the operators need to be aware of? Then we go into seasonal studies, which is, so now we're talking about not 6 months, now we're talking about like seasonal, so summer. So you know how we had those couple of hot summer days where we were I'm pretty sure you got some warnings where like, hey, conserve energy. So that was us running. Left. So that was us running our studies, and we figured that we weren't going to be able to meet our load. So what we did is we started sending out those flex alerts. So hey, you know what? Try to conserve energy. Everybody was doing that, not just IID. So you know, APS, SDG&E, they were all needing power. So we kind of captured that a couple of days before. So that's why we started sending them days ahead. We also do power flow and dynamic analysis on these three-phase systems, real-time system modeling, real-time contingency analysis, state estimated calibration, and automation of processes. So all these things we do on a day-to-day basis are to make sure that we have our system as reliable as possible, and to be able to give the operators a game plan in case anything does happen. So going back to this real-time contingency analysis, what this does is it runs on real-time, and it monitors the flows on all branches, transformers, and generators, and it takes out each element one by one. So it takes out, for example, the line going from Calexico to Perry. So it takes that line out, and what it does is it gives the operator a visual representation of what they might see if that line goes out. And that's all done in the background. So we do the modeling for them, and they just get the display. And so some of the things that somebody that's looking into going to the engineering field or into the electrical engineering field at IID is they need to be proficient in Microsoft Office. That's one of the things. I know you don't usually take a class in like Microsoft Office or Excel, but I can express how much we use Excel, Visual Basic Programming, how much we use that. So if students haven't done any of Excel programming, any Excel, they haven't gotten any exposure to Microsoft Office, I would definitely recommend that. MATLAB is another program that we use, AutoCAD, PSpice, PSLF, which is how we do our power flow modeling on our offline tool. Any C++ programming, like they were mentioning automation, the whole manufacturing, everything is going towards automation, even with day-to-day tests. Visual Basic, another programming language, ETCO programming, problem-solving skills. So with the problem-solving skills, that's one of the main things that you want to be able to have as an engineer. So usually they'll give you a problem and they're expecting you to solve it or find a solution, not just one couple solutions for it. Even when we're trying to, for example, schedule an outage, we don't just give them, hey, you know what, you can't do this outage. We give them a couple of scenarios like, hey, you can do it if you lower generation here, you change the generation to this line. So problem solving, problem solve. Multitasking also, being able to do a couple of things at the same time, manage your time. And the biggest one I would say is communication. So be able to communicate what you're trying to do or what you're trying to schedule verbally and writtenly correctly. Because sometimes your audience might not be, like students, they might be higher ups management that all they want to see is, I just want to see what's going to happen. So this is the straight facts, not all the scientific stuff behind it. And so pretty much that's it. So if you have any questions, sorry, I was running out of time, so I had to rush through the last one. But if you have any questions, I guess we can answer those at the end.
Thank you, Ismael, and sorry to push you on time. but appreciate the information and thank you for being willing to stay for the after session question and answers. The next presenter that we have is coming to us from Caltrans. He's a district hiring liaison, Mr. Beau Blackwell.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Give me just a sec. Oh, I guess I can't share the screen if the other one is sharing. Ismael, can you remove your? Okay, perfect.
There we go. We can see it.
I can't, for some reason, I can't share the other screen. Hoping I can. Oh, okay. Perfect. Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. My name is Beau Blackwell. I am the Caltrans District 11 Hiring Liaison. I have some great information to share with you today. I'm going to start by giving a little background on what we do as a state agency, then share our mission, vision, goals, then I'll move on to share all the different types of classifications that we have available at Caltrans. And from there, I'll show you how to find the minimum qualifications for the career you're interested in and show you some videos on how to take the civil service exam and apply using your Cal Careers account. So what do? Caltrans manages more than 50,000 miles of California's highway and freeway lanes, provides intercity rail services, permits more than 400 public use airports and special use hospital heliports, and works with local agencies. So we have 6 primary programs in aeronautics, highway transportation, mass transportation, transportation planning, administration, and the Equipment Service Center. So our mission is to provide a safe, sustainable, integrated, and efficient transportation system to enhance California's economy and livability. Our vision is a performance-driven, transparent, and accountable organization that values its people, resources, and partners, and meets new challenges through leadership, innovation, and teamwork. So our goals. Goals, number one, foremost, safety and health, then stewardship and efficiency, sustainability, livability, and economy, system performance, and organizational excellence. And our priorities moving forward is these were just established as, of course, number one, safety, then modality, innovation, efficiency, and partnerships. So one of my favorite things about Caltrans is the variety of positions available and how they all work together with a common goal in mind. We employ everything from transportation engineers, surveyors, transportation planners, right-of-way specialists, a host of administrative classifications, environmental specialists including planners, archaeologists and biologists, science technicians, highway maintenance classifications, and IT specialists. There's no shortage of opportunities within, and gaining experience and knowledge in other classifications is always encouraged by management. So there are 2 different websites to consider when looking for a job with the state. There's a CalHR website where you will find detailed benefits and specific job classification information and opportunities for student assistance. When you have found the career you're interested in, you can use the CalCareers website to conduct a basic or advanced job search, geographic job search, exam or assessment search, create a CalCareers account, and apply for active job openings. So this right here is an example of something you would find on the CalHR website. This is information about the transportation engineer civil classification. Lists the salary, 5,540 base, maxes out at 10,377 monthly. And then these are the minimum qualifications. And as you can see, there are a few different ways to qualify for the class. So the first one there being 4-year degree required or so forth. Here's an example for the Caltrans highway maintenance worker. With this really is 1 year of experience in general laboring work in construction or maintenance. And then the equipment operator is pretty much just 2 years of experience performing the service assistant, including training and operation and highway maintenance of construction equipment, or possession of certification as a heavy equipment operator technician from a college university accredited by the California Superintendent of Public Instruction. So right now I'm just gonna share you a quick video. This is a short video on how to take an exam for a position you are interested in. And I just wanted to elaborate that this video is available on YouTube simply by searching how to get a job with the state of California. And it should come right up.
Welcome to CalCareers, the state of California's website that is the launching pad into a state career. The state offers several options for employment with various career fields and locations. To get started with the state, click on the New to State Service icon. The first step to a state job is searching for a job. On this page, if you know the job you are looking for, you can use the search feature. If you are unsure where to start, you can browse jobs by using the Find Jobs by Industry section. This tool has grouped the job classifications into 22 major occupational groups. This provides job seekers a gauge for areas of employment in state civil service. Once you find one of interest, click on the job category. The expanded job categories will display. Click on the Show Specific Job Classes link that interests you. The job classifications will display. To learn more about the overall job classification and if you meet the minimum qualifications, click on View Class Spec. To see the specific job openings for one of the displayed classifications, click on the job classification title. Now on the job search results page, you can view job openings that may interest you. To open the job posting, click on the job title or the View Job Posting button. Once on the job posting, to proceed with applying, click on the Apply for this job button on the upper right-hand side. The next page will help you determine your eligibility to apply for the job opening. For applicants new to state service, you will most likely need to take an exam or assessment. If you are successful in the assessment, you will obtain list eligibility. Note, for more information, click the question mark icon. In this example, we are selecting I do not have eligibility. If there are exams or assessments available, it will display in the grid below. To proceed with the assessment, click the hyperlinked classification title on the far left of the grid. Now on the informational bullet, scroll down to the click here for the official bullet to proceed. Carefully read all the information. When you are ready, scroll down to the Taking the Exam section for instructions on how to take the exam or assessment. There are several ways to take an exam, including online or in person. Follow the instructions to begin the exam process. You will be directed to sign in or create a CalCareer account. After you take the examination or assessment, you will be notified of your results. If you are successful, you will have list eligibility and can apply for job openings. To apply for jobs, click the New to State Service icon on the top bar. Once on the main page, you can search for jobs by using the search feature or scroll down to the Find Jobs by Industry section. Congratulations, you are now on your way to an exciting state service career.
Okay, so the next video I have for you is walking you through the how to actually apply for a position that you're interested in through the CalCareers website.
Click on the form and enter your username and password. After you are logged in, you will be on the Find Job Applications page. To apply for jobs, click on the Find Jobs icon. If you do not know the job title, use the keyword field. Use the advanced filters to enter job details. If using the classification field, type and select the title from the drop-down menu. When ready, click Search Jobs. Your search criteria will sit at the top of your page. The search results will be displayed at the bottom half of the page. User tip: you can refine your results by selecting additional filters as needed. An available tool to use use during your job search is the Save This Job feature. This will save the selected job posting to your account, which can be found in your Save Jobs side tab. This gives you easier access to the job posting once you are ready to apply. When ready, click View Job Posting. Read all of the information and instructions on the job posting. When ready, click Apply Now. If you have taken and passed the exam or assessment for this position, then you are considered to have list eligibility. If you do not have eligibility, select I do not have eligibility and review the text provided. If you are unsure, select I do not know and review the text provided. If you have eligibility, select I have eligibility and click Apply for this job. You will now be on the Select Application Template page. If you have already completed an STD678 application template, you can select it on the left-hand side. If not, click on Use Blank Application. For the purpose of this video, we are using an existing application template. If you choose Use Blank Application, the steps are the same. However, you will need to complete the entire application. You will now be on the Complete Application screen. On the left side of the page, there are 4 steps, 1 step per page, to complete the application. Review and edit as needed. Once finished on each page, click Save and Continue at the bottom of the page. A red yield symbol will display on any step that is missing required information. You will not be able to submit your application without addressing the issues. You can either click the back button at the bottom of your screen or the left side tab with the red yield symbol. Once on the page with the error, read the message at the top of your screen directing you to the issue. Complete the required information and then proceed by clicking Save and Continue at the bottom of the screen. On the Application Package screen, the application checklist and the STD678 employment application are automatically included for your electronic submission. Review the standard forms and upload any required documents. You may include additional documents. If you have an additional document to upload, click Add Additional Document and select the file. Once you have uploaded all the necessary documents, click Save and Review Application at the bottom of the page. Once you have reviewed your application, scroll down to the Submit Application section. Please read all of the information in this section. If you are submitting your application by mail or drop-off, follow the instructions on the screen under the heading Apply by Mail or Drop-off. If you are submitting your application electronically, check the 2 application certification boxes and click Submit My Application Electronically. For electronically submitted applications only, you will receive a receipt of submission. To view your copy of the submitted application or any applications in progress, click Find at the top of the page and then select the Job Application side tab.
Okay. So there you have it. If you have any questions or need any of the information that I shared in this presentation, please send me an email. I have my email displayed up here. I also have a PDF with a step-by-step guide on applying for jobs with the state, and I would be more than happy to provide you with. All in all, this is an incredible state agency to work for. There are tons of opportunities, and like I said, cross-training is very much encouraged by our management staff.
Thank you
Thank
very
you all
much.
for your interest.
Okay, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Adriana Hernandez. Adriana has some closing announcements for the session.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us in this breakout session. Thank you to the teachers, the guest presenters, and all of the IVROP team. Before we end the session, I'd like to remind you to please complete the breakout session evaluation to give us some feedback that we can use to improve our advisory meetings. Also, if you haven't, please complete the industry survey because it helps give CTE programs industry input on how to better prepare students for the workforce. Lastly, I'd like to share our website with you. Here you will find past breakout session recordings and other resources you can use. We'll be adding the PowerPoints, for example, that were presented. And if you can go to our website, you could also check upcoming breakout sessions. If you click on business, finance, and marketing, you'll see that our next industry breakout session will be next Wednesday, December the 16th from 3:15 to 4:15, also via Zoom. And that is it for me. I'll go ahead and give it back to Gabriel.
All right, thank you very much, Adriana. Appreciate the information. I wanted to go ahead and thank all of our presenters for providing all of your awesome information. If there's any information that you want to share, make sure that you give it to Martina so she can provide it in the link. And now it's time to go to question and answers. If we have any questions that were submitted in the chat previously, Martina and Sue, can you guys provide that to us?
Yes, definitely. So this question was for Monica and Ruishan. So it was, how can you share how can educators adapt with work-based learning during COVID, the COVID pandemic?
Hi everyone. So as I've mentioned on the chat, educators can leverage our monthly discussion forums and events. Monica did mention that the next one coming up is December 16th. We invited Thermo Fisher. They're going to talk about how they have adjusted to the COVID pandemic. And they're also going to talk about some of the different skills and competencies that they are looking for and how they are evaluating their people. So that's one platform that you could look at. And Monica and I, we actually try our best to keep having employer sessions. We actually plan to maybe do a bi-monthly employer session where we would invite teachers and students to come on the webinar to learn more about different careers in manufacturing and engineering. So if you're interested, I would make sure that you look at the link that I posted, My Workforce Connection, because it's a list of events coming up, or just make sure that you sign up on our listserv because we send out our invitation through that listserv. Hope that helps.
Thank you, Ruishan. There was another question. It was for you and Monica, and it says, what are some strategies to have a much more engaging career day for students?
That's a great question. That's something that everyone's wondering. I don't know what Monica has in plan for the next coming year. All I know that we are planning to have these monthly events. And also, I think the platform that you use would be really important. Recently, we had the counselor conference using the HOVA, WHOVA, and that has been pretty interesting. So making sure that you have a good platform, making sure that you have at least 2 people coordinating and making sure that they are staying up to date. And I would say planning an event, if it's like a county event, I would at least give at least 3 to 4 months planning time to make sure you invite the right, have the best contents so that you can have time to start sending to the people you want to invite.
Awesome. Thank you, Ruishan. There was another question. I believe this one popped up during Ismael's when he was speaking. So it says, someone had mentioned that there are more jobs that they've been seeing that are based on requiring software-based skills. So maybe if you have some input for us, or maybe what type of skills would be necessary for these baseline jobs. Sorry, Isma, I think you're muted. Thank you, sorry.
All right, no worries. So like I mentioned, just any type of programming, but like C++ or Visual Basic. I know a lot of people are not aware that like Excel, you can program in Visual Basic, but any type of programming would definitely help out when you're trying to find a job, especially like in the technology field, because you do have a lot of people that are older and that are, they're used to doing something repetitive all the time, over and over, but they don't know that with this programming, you can get rid of those tedious tasks that are being repetitive, that have a repetitive process. So being able to understand like Visual Basic, C++, or Java in that case would definitely help out the kids or students.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Olivia. That was my comment. And I just, when he was speaking of all this is all true, and it just reminded me that from top down, more and more of these type of analytical skills are required, and computer skills. And it's funny because even it's in HR and it's in accounting, and it goes all the way down to even just inputting your timesheet now. Everything's just going towards that. And so even if you're a construction worker, right now IAD requires you to sit down on a computer and do all of your benefits. So even down to your timesheet, your benefits, it's like, it just reminded me that not only are engineers needing to requiring more skills that are more adaptive, like you said, programming based, because not just knowing how to use the program, but knowing how to manipulate the program, correct? But also even down to the janitor and down to anybody across the board. And I've seen, as Ismael pointed out, a lot of employees really struggling with even just, we get new systems, new softwares for doing invoicing. We have, every time I have a new, GIS is coming up. GIS is getting really big right now, and it's becoming very important. So there's, outside of just what some people consider as technical or engineering degrees, these type of skills are now getting required in all kinds of fields. So it's just, when he was speaking, it reminded me of that. And so that was where that comment came from.
We're not able to hear you, Mark.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Headphones, like, oh my goodness. Okay, so the next question is for Beau. And Juan asks, what was your first job in the state? And a follow-up question, if the job you have now, and if you're interested in your advancement in the state / Caltrans. Okay, I'll go with the first one. Yeah.
Okay, so I started my career with the state of California when I was 21. I'm 30 now, so about almost 10 years. I started at the Department of Motor Vehicles as a registration technician, and about a year after that, I moved up to a licensing registration examiner. Did that for a few years, and then I transferred over to Caltrans about 3 years ago as a staff services analyst, and then they promoted me to an associate governmental program analyst last year.
Thank you, Beau. I was really curious because there's a lot of opportunity in the state, and so it was really interesting hearing that you started at DMV.
Yes.
I worked for a time at the state, so I just, I kind of bowed out of the state before I was able to lateral and jump around and experience that. But I just know that a lot of folks have done that. So it's
right. The state of California is excellent. Like the opportunities are just, it's great.
Thank you both. Thank you, Juan. So this next question is for Pat. It is also asked by Juan. So he made like a little silly question. So he asked Pat, what is your longest drive? LOL.
Longest drive's 394 yards. Thanks for asking.
And climbing, or
what's that?
Is it 395 and climbing?
Yeah, hopefully I'll hit 400 one day. We'll see.
Any Happy Gilmore shots on those, or is it all?
A couple Happy Gilmore shots, a couple curse words like Happy Gilmore as well. So.
Okay, so Juan's next question is a serious question. How have you adapted? And Juan elaborates that he imagines you are missing the face-to-face interaction that is critical for outreach. How have you adapted?
Yeah, so being in sales, it's pretty difficult being cooped up at home, and you know, as all of you are aware, with COVID, schools being basically shut down since, you know, second week of March, it's been tough. So I think everybody's probably had one too many Zoom meetings under their belt, but this is how we have to move forward and adapt. We've done a lot of these meetings similar, collaborating with other instructors, teachers, department heads, employers, and deans. We've done a lot of remote training sessions with some of our robotics and some of our training equipment. We can actually, we had a Zoom meeting yesterday where we had somebody in Austin, Texas, program and move a robot in Irvine, California. That was pretty cool. So we've adapted as best we can, like everyone else. But I certainly miss going to the welding and automotive and electrical labs and talking to instructors. I'm hoping they miss me too, but nobody really misses a sales guy. So, but we've adapted as best as we can.
So this next question that I have is from Ruishan, one of our panelists. She is asking the employers who are visiting us. So she wrote, given that a lot of work is now remote, what are employers and companies doing to ensure that their employees who struggle with digitization or not as tech savvy adjust as well? So how are employers helping their workers who struggle with digitization and tech savvy? How are they helping them adjust well? The floor is open to anybody.
I guess we're just like with our agency, we're just making sure that everybody has the tools they need. For example, we're giving everybody the option to take a monitor home and any sort of IT equipment, and then also we're giving them all of like guidelines to like how to set up a good telework station at home and all that. And it's been pretty successful so far. I haven't seen many big issues.
Beau. Would anybody else like to piggyback on that? Okay, cool. So this next question is from Juan to Ismael. So thinking back when you were in high school, Ismael, what made you gravitate toward your chosen career, and what excites you about your job?
All right. I think ever since I was younger, I was always interested in like the electronic devices or what was inside like a clock, radio, or a speaker. That's where it all started. Unfortunately, back then I was able to open it and play around with it, but I could never put it back together. But that's kind of where it started. Little did I know that what I was more into was kind of like the electrician part of it, not the actual engineering part of it. But once I started getting into taking the classes, I started liking what I was seeing. I was like, as long as I understand the science behind it, I can do the whole hands-on. And so what excites me about my job, to be honest, the schedule that I have, I know this might not be the answer you're looking for, but the schedule that I have, I can't find another job that would offer me this type of schedule, 4/10, 4-day weekends, 5-day weekends, and still do something that I enjoy. It gives me the liberty to like travel whenever I want to travel, with this whole pandemic thing, work from home. So that would be my answer.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Beau, Blackwell, Pat Uetz, Ismael Gomez, Ruishan Chow, and I think Monica's already left us. I wanted to thank you again for joining us and sharing your guys' information. Anything again that you want to share, links, videos, feel free to send them our way, and we'll make sure that they're provided on our website and to our attendees. And again, thanks very much. We appreciate you guys taking your time and sharing your valuable information. And thank you everybody who attended. We appreciate your support, and it's really important to continue to support our CTE instructors. Hi, Monica, she came back. CTE instructors and our students as we prep them to go out into the world of work. So thanks so much, everybody.